Okay, here we go, guys. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regularly Scheduled Meeting for Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, as well as the Taft City Council Successor Agency Special Meeting for Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. Pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N29-20, Taft City Council meetings will be held in the following manner. Effective October 20th, 2020, City Council meetings will be providing seating for 6 attendees on a first-come, first-served basis. Attendees must wear masks in order to enter the building. Meetings will continue to be live-streamed, and public comment can also be received per the city's policy in response to the Governor's Executive Order N29-20. In order to protect our constituents, city officials, and city staff, all public meetings until further notice will be held with limited attendees in order to allow for social distancing. City Council meetings will be live streamed in real time to our YouTube channel by searching for City of Taft City Clerk on YouTube or at this link, www.youtube.com/user/City of Taft. Secondly, public comments for City Council meetings will be accepted in the following manner. In person, public comments will be accepted up until 5 p.m. the day of the meeting. Written comments may be dropped off in the drop box in front of City Hall. Comments may be emailed to the city clerk at ymayfield@cityoftaft.org. They may be made by phone to the city clerk's office at 661-763-1222. All comments received will be read into the record. Lastly, should a member of the public prefer to speak during the live portion of the meetings, they shall contact the city clerk prior to the time listed above and provide a contact phone number. Be available during the meeting times of 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. You will be contacted at the phone number you provide and placed on speaker to address the council during the meeting time. We're going to begin this evening's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Eveland, followed by an invocation from Joshua Shepherd. If you would all join us, please.
Please stand. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to say, count it as a privilege to be here tonight. I've grown up in the city. I'm thankful for all of your service. Let's pray. Thank you, Father, for your blessing over this meeting. God, you said in your word that anybody who asks for wisdom, that you're a God who gives generously to all without reproach, and that you will give it. And I pray, God, for wisdom over this meeting and every decision that we make every single day. And God, I pray for your blessing over this meeting and over this city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Joshua. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor North?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor?
Here.
Councilmember Bryant?
Here.
Councilmember Eveland?
Here.
And Councilmember Whiting?
Here.
Okay, first item on this evening's agenda is public hearing regarding the proposed increase of residential refuse rates and sewer rates. Recommendation is to conduct a public hearing. If no majority protest exists, we'll go to number 2. So I'm going to open said hearing. Does anybody here wish to speak against or on behalf of this issue? No, Madam Clerk? All right, thank you very much. All right, second part of this item would be a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, a resolution of the City of Taft. Oh, wait a second, I'm sorry. I left the city manager out of the loop here. City Manager Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll read the staff report.
All right.
Staff worked with HF&H Consultants, LLC, to complete a rate study for the city's refuse and sewer rates and to identify revenue necessary to fund expected expenses of the sewer and refuse services. In order for the revenue to meet the expected needs, the rates will need to be adjusted to provide sufficient funding. Charges for both of these services are property-related charges subject to Proposition 218 and a majority protest proceeding. On February 16, 2021, council approved the mailing of notices to affected property owners and ratepayers and calling for a public hearing. Notices were mailed out to all the affected properties the first of the week of March. One written protest per parcel filed by an owner or tenant of the parcel shall be counted and calculated a majority protest to be proposed in the increase in rates. If no majority protest exists, council may approve the resolution and ordinance for the first reading to adopt proposed refuse and sewer rates. And I will point out that Rob Hilton with HF&H Consultants is here tonight. If anyone has any in-depth questions about the rate study. Also attending is the Vice President of Westside Waste, Matt Goshen. If anybody has any questions for the franchise holder.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for being available this evening. Appreciate that very much. Madam?
Close your public hearing.
Okay, since I had already opened it and we established the fact that nobody wanted to speak on it, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Now then. Of the 2,257 affected properties,
You received 7 protests.
7 protests.
So, per the guidelines adopted by the city council to cover this process, the tabulation of protests states that if the number of protests received is obviously substantially fewer than the number required to constitute a majority protest, the city clerk may determine the absence of a majority protest without opening the envelopes. So I am going to state we do not have a majority protest so that you can move on.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I would agree with your math. So then, next up, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Approving Solid Waste Collection, Processing, and Street Sweeping Rates for 4 years beginning July 2021.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to say I appreciate that someone had the forethought to put that type of clause in this process. And I'd also like to say that I'm sure that every one of us can sympathize and empathize with the folks who did write in protest, because there's not a single person, I believe, on this council that doesn't feel the same way in practice. We just understand that, or in theory, I should say, but in practice, we understand that it's just not feasible for us to move forward without making these sorts of changes. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, sir. Councilman Whiting, any additional comments?
No, sir.
Councilman Evelyn?
I would just second Josh's comments regarding, I don't believe there's anyone on this council that would like this to go forward, but we're kind of at the point to where it's not an option anymore.
Thank you very much, sir. Mayor Pro Tem?
No comment. Thank you.
As you stated so very well, this is response to a state edict. We have no choice. We either try to get ahead of this and put this in place in such a manner as to soften the blow as much as we can to the people we represent, while at the same time not putting ourselves in the crosshairs of the state. So that's the reality of it. That is what we've done. So we have a motion and we have a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Moore.
Yes, thank you. That passed on a 5-0 vote. Next, a motion to adopt an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Title 3, Chapter 3, Section 6 of the Taft Municipal Code establishing sewer rates for city residences, businesses, and industrial customers for the first reading by title only and reading of such be waived."
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any additional comment?
No further comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Council members, any additional comment?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right then, Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Moore.
Yes, and that passed on a 5-0 vote. Thank you all very much. Item number 2, public hearing, ordinance amendments of Chapter 1 of Title 5 of the Taft Municipal Code regarding the city's building regulations and general building provisions. City Manager Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. Title V of the Taft Municipal Code outlines the building code regulations for the city and includes the adoption of the current edition of the California Building Code. The regulations were last updated on January 20th, 2020 by ordinance number 834-20, which adopted the 2019 CBC. Attached is the ordinance with amendments to Chapter 1 of Title V of the Taft Municipal Code regarding the city's building regulations and general building provisions. The proposed amendments include the addition of 5 sections addressing waste management plans, waste diversion requirements as part of the building permit process. The other amendments to the building regulations involve reorganization of sections and other text amendments. This amendment further ensures the city's consistency and compliance with the SB 1383 law regarding waste collection and diversion.
Thank you, City Manager Jones. Recommended action is to conduct a public hearing. Therefore, I will open said hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on behalf of or in opposition to this item, please step forward. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, have we had anybody call in or email in regarding this?
No, sir, we have not.
All right, thank you very much. Therefore, I will then close the public hearing. I would entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft approving an amendment of Chapter 1 of Title 5 of the Taft Municipal Code regarding the city's building regulations and general building provisions for the first reading by title only and reading of such be waived.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
None here.
Councilman Evelyn, I believe you made the motion on this?
I did, sir. Made the second.
I made the motion.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
You got the second.
Councilman Whiting, any discussion on this item?
None for me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Was Councilman Evelyn the second on this?
He was.
I was, sir.
Okay, sir. Any comments on this, sir?
None additional, sir, no.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Bryant?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem?
No comment, thank you.
This is basically just finishing up, wrapping up the loop that has to be closed in order for this to be implemented. And that's unfortunate, but it's reality. Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Moore.
Yes, that passed on a 5-0 vote. Thank you. Next up is citizen requests public comments. Do we have any requests for public comments? You know what, we have, well, I'm going to do it during my statement, so I don't have to read this. Okay, then. We're going to roll right into council statements. I'm going to begin this evening with you, Councilman Whiting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have anything tonight.
All right. Councilman Evelyn, any comments this evening?
No, Mr. Mayor, I do not.
All right. Councilman Bryan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm kind of disappointed that Max got up and left after that item because I wanted to tell him thank you on behalf of his efforts and those efforts of West Side Waste. They put together a bulky waste recycling program or pickup. I believe it was 2 weekends ago. That's something they don't have to do. They go out of their way to help make this community better, and even though they're going to have to implement the changes we just voted on, they still find ways on their own dime help keep this place clean. So thank you on behalf of the city of Taft to those guys. I know a lot of folks have utilized it, but I still want to report or bring up the idea that the report of concern ability on the city's website is a fantastic tool. I've heard of many times when I've pointed folks in that direction that, hey, I've got a response and it happened, or at least even if they got the answer they didn't like, they got an answer. So I wanted to remind folks, if you have a question or concern, please use the report of concern function to get the quickest possible visibility and response of your concern there. It's a great tool. City Hall jumps as soon as that email comes through and it goes to the right people, and that's an amazing thing. And I want to commend city staff, whether it's Public Works, City Hall, or anybody else, for their responses because, obviously the citizens see that. They see a quick, prompt, and courteous response, and I'm very much appreciative of that. And then on behalf of the city, I'd like to wish Fred Holmes a little bit of a belated but happy birthday. He's a great man in this area, does a lot for this community, and on behalf of the city, we're definitely thankful to have him.
All right, very good. Thanks, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer, do you have any comments this evening?
Yes, I do. Thank
I
you.
thought you might. Okay.
This might be a little long, but I go down to Imperial Valley about 3.5 months out of the year. I've been doing it for over 44 years. And I made the paper down there and made the media on television in Yuma and different other areas. But it's not nothing to be proud of or anything. I look at it being, I know where I stand at in the pecking order as far as being a citizen here in California. And you always hear in the news how important to have agriculture and stuff, picking our crops, preparing our crops and everything already. Well, the motel I stay at, I would say a majority of the people there are farm workers. I stay there. We were told that we had to leave. I was the first one to find out about because I always pay in advance. And I was going to be going to Kern Cog on Thursday, so I was paid up till another 3 or 4 days. And the people at the desk told me, Mr. Cryer, we cannot extend your stay here. I said, what do you mean? Well, I can't really say anything, but we just can't renew and come here and stay. And I said, well, where's the owner at? Sam Patel. And he goes, well, he won't get in until later in the afternoon. So in the meantime, I just couldn't figure out why they want us out of there, other than later, I went back again, and within a few minutes or two, is who's taking the rooms? Well, it's the state of California reserved all the rooms. They reserved all the rooms. It has to do with the illegal migrants coming across the border and stuff. Well, I can't say anything about that. In the meantime, I saw vans coming up in the entranceway, so I went over there with my phone. I saw all these people coming out of these vans with all luggage and everything, and the bags and all different colors and shapes and sizes. And I saw them going up to the rooms, being directed by officials from California. And I started taking some videos of it. And lo and behold, they were yelling at me saying, you can't take videos and this and that. I said, why not? Why can't I take pictures of this? I'm kind of curious what's going on here. Are these the illegals that are coming across the border? And no, they're not illegals. Oh, okay. So they're green card holders? No, they're not. And I started questioning, and that's how I learned about PC, speech. But they told me I had to turn my camera off, delete all the photos and all this stuff. And I said, no, this is public property here. No, it's private property. Well, yes and no. But anyway, it went on and on. Anyway, I did find out you can't use the term illegal aliens, so that's been changed. We all know that. Alien migrants, you can't use that word no more. That's a no-no. Undocumented migrants used to be recently been pretty common. Use migrant you see on TV all over the place. Now, just recently, they're told that they are now migrants. So all that's been changed. I don't know what next week's going to be, but probably a different word for that. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of word it's going to be. But right now, I'm not really happy about it because I was really, really pissed off about the whole thing. And so myself, knowing I was about the first head of Grimway Farms, I was there. Other farming companies were there, and they all had to leave. And so I went to a motel across the street. Unfortunately, I knew the owners there, and he let me go reserve the rooms for the workers I have working there, my crews, and I got that squared away. And I went to the local newspaper here, the Imperial Valley Press. I couldn't go inside, had to go call a number, and I go, what can I do for you? Well, who do I talk to? I'm a one-pissed person out here. Got kicked out of my room, told to vacate and all that, and, that'd be an editorial. So we started talking on the phone for a little while. I'm outside your door here. Can we just talk in person? Which we did. And then he thought it was a good story because there's other issues going on in Imperial Valley as it touches a lot of hot buttons. These are not conservatives because most of them are all Democrats, and they're not very happy what's going on. And I spent about, at least 2 hours with him talking about it. But, he was a nice guy, but a lot of things he didn't put in the paper or change a few things around. But it's a hot button down there because that's not the only hotel that the state took over. They took over a beautiful place called Barberworth Country Club. They have a nice golf course, a big, huge pool, and a convention center. Very, very nice. And they took it over, spending tons of money. I know the owner of that place. He's one of our growers. And I know a lot of the growers that grow for us. They're all upset with this grower, got signs out there boycotting, protesting, all that stuff going on. So it's a touchy deal, because there's a lot of things happening when they come across the border and stuff. A lot of them, they're saying that they're got COVID and all that stuff, they have to be segregated. I didn't see anybody wearing masks, but a couple of people. The other running around, talking, having a grand old time. And they got lucky. They got here in the United States, they're milk and honey. They get all these freebies that you and I can't get. And apparently I can't get a room there. They figure I'm not important enough to wait till I vacate on my own and I finished up my season down there. No, I had to go and endure the headaches. I was going to do it, but I had a city council meeting tonight, which I'm glad I'm here. I'm happy to be here. But myself and a couple other people were going to make me a nice big cardboard box home, put it in front of the state building over there, and fix it up with all the different things. But that still may happen. So this is in order to make a statement. That's all it is. All about making a statement. And I've been interviewed by TV from Yuma, Arizona, and other places and stuff. And because of because of all the border states and everything, there's a lot of crime, a lot of things happening over there, and they're all upset. They're not just conservatives or Republicans. It's affecting all people of all different persuasions. And unfortunately, I fell into it where it happened to me. Unbelievable. I've been doing this here for 44 plus years down there, and it's kind of shocking to happen to you. And what's going on with our government, wasting our money. You can't believe how much money they're paying for each day for each one of them. It's going to end up. I talked to our mayor here to get hold of some of our elected officials here to do an audit. With the troop, because I heard they're spending between $500 a day per individual to $76,000 a year for them up, and I think we could do it a whole lot cheaper. But anyway, I would find out because it's affecting everybody. It doesn't affect our service, and our state's having hard times, a lot of things going through, and the COVID and all that, and it takes money out of our treasury for something that we can use it for our veterans, help them out, find homes for them, fix their homeless problems, get serious about it, not just throw money at it, but seriously get it all taken care of. There's a lot of things that we can do to take care of our own citizens and their needs, and to make California a greater golden state. But it's not it's sad how it's being wasted on something. People come here, like, would you let a 6-year-old or 5-year-old kid by himself, but accompanied by not their family or anything, walk from Guatemala to here? I say not. But there's a lot of that going on. They're taking advantage of it by the cartel. They're getting paid, they're paying their parents off $6,000, to bring them over here. And then what happens is they'll recycle them back across the border again and use them double or whatever. And some, I know the desert very well there, it's pretty harsh. There's a lot of they have planes go there every day checking for bodies in the desert, or lost people out there in the desert and stuff trying to cross. The smarter ones go right to the front door, and here I am, take me in. Biden says you'll take care of me. Good. And then that's all it takes, and they take care of them. But that's all I have to say on that particular issue and stuff. But I did find my place. Everything's going great. I just look at the poor taxpayers ourselves. They having to support all that, and I hope I didn't beat too much around the bush on that or anything. But
I think you laid it out there.
I was just so upset, on there, and I missed my meeting, my current COG meeting, but I did it on my phone, and I damn near could have missed this one here, but this is more important than talking to other channels, NBC and CBS. I was having an appointment with them, and so I'm here, and I did exercise my right to. It's my speech, let the world know what's happening, or the Californians know what's happening it's happening here, it's happening in Arizona, it's happening in Texas. It's affecting everybody, but you'll never hear about it in the news. All in this area, you'll never hear about it.
Surprising, isn't it?
Unbelievable, but I learned my lesson about what words they use and stuff, and I asked the reporter, what's going to be next month, and he just shook his head, like, oh, let's kid around. But anyway, I thank you for your time, and thank you, CA Taft. I know it's not related to Taft, but this is what's going on in our state, and I think you should know about it. I know a lot of people will not want to talk about it because they feel that we owe them that. And I say if they have a problem with their own country, take care of their own country. They can fix it. You know, they have no, but, you know, what hurts them is they don't have a Second Amendment over there. They have no weapons. Only the criminals and the cartels have the weapons. But here in this, our great country, they're trying to do the same thing to us. Take our weapons away from us, and crime will go down. No, it'll get worse. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I have a couple of things this evening. First off, I want to thank the people in the city of Arvin. I want to thank the city council. I want to thank the mayor of Arvin, Mayor Trujillo, as well as Mayor Pro Tem Fernetovich, for giving me the opportunity, with the help of Mark Staples and Yvette, to put together a PowerPoint and share with them a different perspective about oil and gas and county benefits as well as global benefits. But they were very accommodating, and I really enjoyed having the opportunity to give the presentation. There were a couple of people who called in at the end of the presentation who were less than civil. That's unfortunate, because it definitely gets in the way of communication and advantageous discourse, if you will, and there was some outrageous behavior. But I will say that the city council, the mayor, and the people of Arvin were very receptive and very pleasant, and I look forward to spending more time with them and working regarding issues that we have in common. All rural areas within Kern County have in common. So thank you all very much for that opportunity. Next up, I want to be sure and let you know, because Dr. Oren from the Chamber is not here this evening, and she asked that I remind everybody that the District Chamber of Commerce will be hosting the State of the City Luncheon. And that's going to be on Thursday, April the 29th, from noon to about 2 p.m. And you can get a hold of the chamber and get your name on the reserve list and make arrangements to be a part of that program. So that's going to be Thursday, April the 29th, from noon to 2 at the Taft Transit Center. They're in the Oil Dorado room, and we're going to spill out on the patio. So we'll have plenty of elbow room and distancing room and enjoy the fresh air. So that's Kathy's announcement. And then lastly, just when you think things can't get any crazier, this state, the stuff that comes out of our Senate and the stuff that comes out of the legislature is mind-blowing. It's no secret that they have talked for a very long time about the housing shortage and the housing crisis that we have within the state of California. Beyond that, they continue to pass more and more laws and requirements that drive up the cost of housing. Well, what's one of the critical components of a large housing project? It's land, right? You got to have land. I mean, you can get sticks and you can get roofs and you can build houses, but you've got to have land. Well, along comes Assembly Bill 672 from Mr. Garcia, a Democrat out of Bell Gardens, and he's trying to help solve this problem. His proposal is to facilitate the development of California's municipal golf courses as affordable housing tracts. Yeah, I see you guys out there laughing at me. You think I'm nuts, but I'm telling you, this is an assembly bill. So if we just quit playing golf, and I thought about it after I read it, and I actually talked to some friends of mine that involved in politics, and I thought, well, gosh, it makes sense. I mean, there's all that grass, and there's trees, and they already have walking paths instead of cart paths. It's just a walking path. So 22% of all the golf courses in the state of California are municipal golf courses. So AB 672 proposes to facilitate their development into affordable housing tracts. So there you go. If they run out of room there, there's always soccer fields, I guess, right? Okay. So there you have it. The lunacy continues.
Mr. Mayor,
All right.
a question in that regard?
Yes, sir, please.
Have they thought about infrastructure that's required when you do develop property for housing? Or is it just building the houses and hoping that the sewage and waste take care of itself?
Well, yes. First off, you said they thought about it. Anybody who would think very long about the proposal that I just laid before you would know that that is absolute nonsense. But that is what's coming out of your lawmakers in the state of California.
The idea of thought is ironic when considering that in Sacramento, is it not?
Is it? Indeed. All right, thank you very much. I just wanted to share with everybody, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, that's all I have this evening. So, next up, Planning Commission report. I believe we have a Planning Commissioner here, Jerry.
Yes, you do. Good evening, Mayor Norm, members of the council. Due to circumstances beyond my control, I wasn't able to report on the previous Planning Commission's meeting, so I'm going to give you two reports in one, and I promise they'll be just as short as one. On our March agenda, we actually had an opportunity to review locations where it might be appropriate to do recycling facilities in order to more fine-tune it after a recent application raised some concerns about location. That will be coming back to us probably in the next month or two for further review. And then you just actually adopted the one that we had this month, which was dealing with the waste recycling changes for construction-related waste and recycling. And just an observation, if they do decide to do something like that, I'm putting in myself for a slot on Torrey Pines because it's a public golf course. I figure that, if it's going to be affordable housing, that might not be a bad place to live.
Yeah, early bird gets the worm. That's a great idea. Okay, thank you very much. Next up, City Manager statement. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no statements.
All right, thanks, sir. City Attorney statements.
Thank you, Mayor. No statement.
All right, thank you, sir. Item number 8, future agenda requests this evening, gentlemen. Mayor Pro Tem, I believe you have something.
I do, Mayor, thank you. May 22nd will mark the 100th year anniversary of the American Legion here in Taft, and I've been in touch with Gary Summers and stuff, and he would be very happy if we can do a proclamation for him, and he'll provide all the information for our city clerk, and I think it's a great honor to have the American Legion's been in our city for 100 years and all the good it does, and as a place for veterans to go there and talk about their past and things to help them along with their healing. It's still a spiritual issue having, and as a community, we support that place, and I was be happy to get a concurrence.
All right.
I would offer concurrence wholeheartedly.
You know what? I think you probably get 4 concurrences if you wait just about 10 seconds. So, yes, sir, that's fantastic. For those of you who have not been to the Legion Hall, they have undergone a spectacular renovation. And it took the combined efforts of many people, but I got to tell you, the fellow steering that ship is a guy by the name of Ed Gaither. And Ed has worked tirelessly, and the inside of that is a beautiful thing, and it's befitting as it's, meant to help as well as remember those that serve this great country. So I think that's a great honor. I'm glad to hear that they're going to have their centennial celebration. The city of Taft had theirs not too awful long ago, so we get to do another one. So that's great. I believe that you've got the concurrence. All right, Madam Clerk, thank you very much. Any other future agenda requests this evening, gentlemen? None? Okay. Next up then, we have consent calendar items 9 through 16. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate action, no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that anybody from the public reached out to you, Madam Clerk? No, thank you very much. All right then, those items are, item number 9, the minutes of the April 6th regularly scheduled meeting. Item number 10, the payment of bills, some $683,000 worth. Item number 11, sick leave accrual payouts and personalized items for MCCF employees. Recommendation is, number 1, authorize employees who are laid off due to the closure of the MCCF the option to cash out up to 50% of sick leave accruals at the time of layoff, not to exceed 320 hours. Secondly, authorize correctional employees who are issued personalized badges to be allowed to keep their personalized badge at no charge to the employee. Item 12, award 4 safe and sane fireworks stands for the 4th of July for 2021. Recommendation is a motion to award the 4 safe and sane fireworks stands for July the 4th, 2021 to the Taft Motorcycle Club, the Taft Midway Sunset Foundation, the Taft Sportsman's Club and Junior Division, and West Side Recreation and Park District. Incidentally, they're the only 4 that put in applications, and we issue 4, so we don't have to have a lottery like we usually do. Item 13, professional services agreement with Rick Engineering Company for the SB2, PGP, and LEAP planning grant projects, downtown Taft specific plan and zoning ordinance amendment to accelerate housing production. Recommendation is a motion to enter into a professional services agreement with Rick Engineering Company for the downtown Taft specific plan and zoning ordinance amendment to accelerate housing production in an amount not to exceed $244,900. Item 14, the 2021 FTA Sections 5311 and Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplement Appropriations Act application. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing the federal funding under FTA Section 5311, 49 USC Section 5311 with California Department of Transportation." Item 15, funding to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of July 2020 to September 2020. Recommendation is a motion to approve the 25% allocation of the transit occupancy tax to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of July 2020 through September 2020. Then lastly, item 16, funding to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of October 2020 to December 2020. Recommendation there is a motion to approve the 25% allocation of the transit occupancy tax to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of October 2020 through December 2020. Does any member of the council wish to remove any of these items from the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove item 11 and item 13, please.
Item 11 and item 13. Any others, gentlemen? All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, and 16.
So, second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes. Thank you all very much. Next up, item number 11, sick leave accrual payouts and personalized items for MCCF employees. City Manager Joe.
We'll have to step out of the room now because it's been brought up.
There's going to be a discussion.
All right.
to abstain from this portion. Sorry.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll give you a moment to exit the facility. All right, City Manager Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. I believe the recommended action speaks for itself. It's an item at the council's discretion to allow the employees 50% of their sick time cash out and personalized items such as their badge to remain.
All right, thank you very much, sir. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve, well, this is the recommendation. Are we going to have a motion on this?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the recommendation, which is to authorize employees who are laid off due to the closure of the MCCF the option to cash up to 50% of sick leave accruals at the time of layoff, not to exceed 320 hours, and authorize correctional employees who are issued personalized badges to be allowed to keep their personalized badge at no charge to the employee.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Councilman Bryan, you asked that this be removed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to take the time to apologize to the people of the state of California, more specifically the people of Kern County and the city of Taft, and most importantly to our dedicated employees at the CCF facility for the the fact is that the governor has no real care or concern for the taxpayer of California, nor the law-abiding citizen of the state of California, and I want to apologize to everyone for that fact, but most importantly, I want to thank them for their dedicated service.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, I have to agree with the Councilman Brown had to say. He don't care, not only doesn't care for our citizens here in California or his workers, he's more concerned about the criminals in our state and more concerned about the immigrants. Trying to be politically correct here. And so I feel that the officers did a really good job of keeping the prisons going. We have high marks with the state, with our facility. They've been over backwards, and I have no qualms in supporting this for the employees that we have there at the MCCF, and I'm proudly would concur. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Well, I certainly concur with all the positive statements regarding the professional team that we had assembled that was taking care of and providing the care, so delivering a first-class product. I don't know if you all saw it, but there was an announcement that they're going to close the Susanville facility as well. You know how big our CCF is, and I think we had a maximum complement of approaching 90 employees. I believe there are 1,100 employees in Susanville. That's how large that facility is. And I think they became aware of their closure when an official announcement was made by the media. So, yeah, there's a crackerjack job going on by the state of California. And then they're saying, well, they can close prisons because they don't have any prisoners. So crime must be down everywhere. But, you know, I looked into that, and that's not what I'm reading about. So if crime is up, but we don't have anybody incarcerated, it must be that we no longer punish people. Amen. And we no longer incarcerate. So as long as you cite and release, there's no need for prisons. As long as you can ignore the victims of the crimes that are being perpetrated, then I guess you can talk yourself into the fact that nobody's getting hurt. So I agree with you, sir, and you as well, that this plan coming out of Sacramento is quite pathetic, and it will only serve to create victims out of honest, hardworking people, and that is a shame.
I think, Mayor, that maybe they have a new political correctness on prisoners. Can't use the word prisoners no more, or criminals, so maybe disadvantaged people be one new word for criminals, or unfortunate victims of society. Could be another term they use. I was using the word criminal, or so forth.
Hard to imagine exactly where they're headed with that. So is there any more discussion regarding this item?
Nothing.
No? We have a motion, a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes, that's approved on 3-0. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Next up, item number 13, professional services agreement with Rick Engineering Company for the SB2 PGP and LEAP planning grant projects, downtown Taft specific plan and zoning ordinance amendment to accelerate housing production. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The city of Taft received 2 planning grants from the State Department of Housing and Community Development with the purpose of accelerating housing production. On April 8, 2020, the city was awarded $160,000 through Senate Bill 2 Planning Grants Program, and on December 28, 2020, was awarded an additional $65,000 through the Local Early Action Grant Program. The City Council previously started the 2017-2018 budget year, approved $80,000 of funding towards such projects. On January 28, 2021, the city published a request for proposals for professional services to prepare the downtown specific plan and zoning ordinance amendment to accelerate housing production. Bids were due by 2 p.m. on March 18, 2021. We received 3 bids, and a group of us got together, rated those, and the recommendation, I believe, was unanimous to award the work to Rick Engineering Company. And if you have any further questions, Mark Staple is here and can answer your question.
All right, thank you very much, sir. At this time, I would entertain a motion to enter into a professional services agreement with Rick Engineering Company for the downtown Taft specific plan and zoning ordinance amendment to accelerate housing production in amount not to exceed $244,900.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Thank you,
Councilman,
Mr.
ask
Mayor.
that this be removed.
I just wanted to take an opportunity to say I emphatically support this. This is something that's a long time coming, and I know that Mr. Livingston and his background can attest. We've talked about this, specifically the downtown specific plan, for at least the last 4 years, and probably longer than that. I want to give thanks to Mark Staples and the other staff that are involved in this. Finding ways to find state money to help us supplement our efforts is going to pay long-term dividends, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And I know that the people of the city of Taft, specifically those in the downtown area, the merchants, the business owners, property owners, will be too, especially when the finished product comes out and we start to see some significant development in the downtown area. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Any other discussion regarding this, gentlemen? Councilman Whiting, Councilman Evelyn?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem? None?
Thank you.
All right. You know what? Things change in this world. They change in this state, heaven knows, almost daily. And so keeping up with that, you have got to try to have a plan moving forward. And we, unfortunately, cannot change the plan with a snap of a fingers in a arbitrary and capricious manner the way that the guy in the governor's mansion can change things. We have to plan it ahead so as to do it efficiently. So I agree. Thank you very much, Mark, for all your efforts in making this thing happen and looking for grant monies to help us through this process. All right, then. There's no further discussion. We have a motion, a second. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes, that's approved on a 5-0 vote. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, this brings us to the closed section portion of these meetings for item A, threat to public services, consultation regarding COVID-19 impacts to public facilities and services, Government Code Section 54957. B, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9B, 2 potential cases. C, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, case number BCV-20-1000096. And item D, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. The closed session item for the special meeting agenda, item A, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54956.8, 1100 East Ash Street, Taft, California 93268. I want to thank everybody for being a part of this evening's meeting and wish you all good evening.